Alright guys, Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. What I've got for you today is a reaction and some analysis, so a bit of breakdown as we go, to Queen and their song Great King Rat. I keep getting confused in my head and want to call it Queen Rat, and also I've got a vague notion that in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles there was a bad guy called the Rat King, which always confused me because Splinter was a rat as well, unless I'm thinking about a different TV show. But hopefully, with your help and the help of the guys in Queen, I can overcome my confusion and just enjoy the music. So my knowledge of Queen's back catalogue is very, very poor. If you want to check out me listening to their song Liar for the first time, check out the eye up there. I will try not to get sidetracked by things like foam put under the bass strings, because I got in quite a lot of trouble for that. Got told off quite a bit last time. But I am going to analyse stuff as we go, so if that's not your bag, you've been warned. Right. Queen, Great King Rat. Let's go for it. '73, right? Okay. Feedback. Big raucous chords to start off with. Sounds more like a Zeppelin riff to me, and then a kind of like funky dominant chord thing. Another guitar coming out that's a bit cleaner. He might be using a phase reverse sound there. Okay. It's got like a Cowboy. Dun ticka dun ticka. It's just it's a little cowbell going on as well. Backing vocals coming in. This is so much more eclectic than the hits. Guitar really low in the mix here, but it's working. Just doing those fills. And then the bigger sound coming in. Not too triumphant, but bigger. Bassline's getting a little bit funky as well, with the octaves. Show me. Bringing his whine on the guitar there. It's almost... He's steering just away enough from Western that it's almost like a bit sea shanty as well. And then a tonal shift here, because it is a rock song after all. I just don't know what's going to come next. Putting the wah back on the solo, or using it more. He might have had it on anyway to get his tone. Guitar's going to get in higher with the bends and some wee fast licks. I can still hear the little... I think it's a cowbell in the drums that's adding an unexpected funk. It's so much proggier and theatrical than what I'd expect. It's almost like a kind of Who type of vibe here. Got kind of chuggier riff here. Oh no, chord change there. It's going to be a bit of a re-intro here. Don't listen to what Mama says. Not a word, not a word. Really hitting those toms. I can hear that they're getting battered. Proper rock and roll. The great Lord before he died nailed sinners by his side and said, you're going to realize tomorrow. We're down to an acoustic guitar here. Yep. Oh. very unexpected chords. Back to that kind of cowboy rhythm. The lead guitar coming in. Unison riff. Oh, going up, change the key. Solo with a kind of spitty, fuzzy texture on it now. Oh, interesting. It's a kind of almost a neoclassical bit in the guitar solo. Interestingly, I can hear more influence on Iron Maiden's guitarist Dennis Stratton. He was more influenced by Queen than the rest of the band were in those solos. That almost sounded like a vocal there with such a sweet tone on his band. Bit of delay, so the note's kind of coming back after it's played. Yeah, you can hear that little cowbell in there. The multi-tracked backing vocals adding in that kind of floaty smoothness. The flanger over the drums as well. They might have had to do that manually if this is 73. What the f*** is that, man? That's a cool little bop. I really didn't expect it. Even though Liar was different, that was different again. From what the Queen songs that I'm used to. Before we break things down, I want to give out a huge shout out and a massive thank you to the ever awesome Rabbi Rabs, Stephen Williams, Glenn Kelly, Rebecca Hay, Dale's Ghost, Konos P and Falcon Sooner for the continued support on patreon.com/JBF Music. Through their kind support that allows me to keep doing these videos, if you yourself have the means and inclination to chuck something in the virtual hat as it were, make sure to hit up patreon.com/JBF Music. Now at the start of this I was mumbling things as I usually do about the guitar, about the tone, about phase reversing. What was I talking about? Well, if we listen to this guitar sound at the start, the kind of Led Zeppelin-y, that kind of thing. To break it down, you got the open E string, letting that ring out because this is rock and roll, we're not doing things too neatly, hammering from the 5th fret to the 7th and the A. Then there's this really weird kind of part, which is something like really scratchy, really tinny. So what he might have done here is, because I know he had some interesting electronics in his guitar, is hit a out of phase switch, which would make the pickup a bit kind of squawkier without changing guitars and getting too much into the nerdy tonal palette. I'm just going to go here, so I'm in between these pickups, which is a more squawky kind of phase reverse type sound. So you can hear that slight more kind of honky squawkiness rather than it's a bit rounder and fuller. The other interesting thing that he's doing here is he's really digging into the strings and maybe getting a bit of partial harmonics. And then the E string is really muting it. Check it out here. And doing these little funky scratches. And you can hear that. It's really heavily muted, making it very almost kind of modern. It's more of a modern guitar sound, the heavy muting thing, and taking something that could be quite funky or it could be quite rocky and kind of making it something new. Like, I don't really know what I'd call that as a guitar part, because it's kind of straddling a few different things. Maybe like a bit of a precursor to stuff by, you know, the Talking Heads or the Strokes or Franz Ferdinand. This has got heavier, more gnarly tone, but it's a similar kind of concept in how they play. So why does it sound kind of cowboyish? If we look at the chords, the guitar's not really playing here. It's the bass, drums and vocals. The guitar's very quietly doing fills, but if I play it, you'll kind of hear it a bit more. Fairly kind of cowboy western chord progression, right? Western is in the kind of genres films rather than like, you know, the West World. The West World? Not the TV show. What am I trying to say? Rather than like Western music theory. And I got a really good what's happening? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, really cool. So you can hear the snare drum and the bass both doing the same rhythm. They're really just hammering that home. Guitar coming in very quietly. Just hammering one note, that's it. Very delicate, not overplaying at all. Yes, he was the son of a whore, always wanted by the law. This is where it kind of comes up a bit. So we've got like a big C chord. It's going a little bit major, but not too major here. And if you listen to the drums, it's doing this like really. The drums are being absolutely pounded. Like I can hear how hard they're being hit, which is unusual to be able to really hear that, but I can hear the life being beat out of them. Right, the reason this bit kind of makes you do that face is if you listen really highly, if you listen to what's going on, there's this thing that's high in pitch that's going to go. That kind of sound, but like right up there. And that's the syncopation added by this. I'm pretty sure it's a cowbell. It's kind of what makes you kind of do the kind of stupid funk faces. Now, whether they do that live or it's an overdub, I don't know, but it's a great little addition, isn't it? And the very Freddie Mercury style, you know, glissando vocals, these vocals where they're gliding from one note to the other, and obviously harmonized and layered and some reverb on there as well. It almost sounds like a slide guitar to me. In fact, there might be guitar mixed in with it. There is. Brian May's doing a well. That note's mixed in there too. It'd be great to, like, with these songs, it'd be awesome if they still had the masters, so you could see what was on each track and how it's been mixed together. Because it's a lot more like the Wild West in '73. They're still figuring things out and experimenting a bit more, which is probably lacking a bit in the modern day. Aside from the very graphic and quite fun lyrics, decided the macabre topic are, I'm enjoying those. You get things like these little unison runs just about here. And if you listen really closely, there's even a tiny bit of wah, wah, wah over the top of it on the guitar here. But that's been doubled by the bass, and the drums are doing the same rhythm, so it really makes it pop out. This bit here, the come on, the time is right, Freddie Mercury's singing in thirds above where he's normally singing, so it's really kind of makes it jump out. And this is sort of where if you think about kind of Western music, when the kind of horns would come in, that's the sort of melody that they'd play. Which kind of adds to this the Western feeling it has going on. So this bit again is quite funky because the bass is doing this, which you'd expect to hear in a funk song, not halfway through a kind of rock and roll Western. There. And you can hear that little cowbell still in the mix as well. So Freddie is asked to be shown Brian is obliging, and I'm going to kind of talk through this guitar solo because he's really complimenting what's going on with the song instead of just going off and doing his own thing. Like that, it's keeping in with the Western theme. I can hear that on a kind of cleaner guitar, you know, or kind of a horn or something, or the kind of whistling do 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 in an old Western movie. There, it was going into like a tiny bit neoclassical because it's Brian May. He's bringing the wah pedal here, so it's moving us quite quickly away from the Western thing, but giving it enough of a nod that, like, you know, we know that's what's going on. Doing a similar melody but up the octave, so he's taking the dynamic up in terms of the pitch. Then bringing the wah back in. There is also more than one guitar here, so it sounds a bit more kind of floaty, like there's these two, you know, guitars, or kind of feels like the image that came into my head was two birds kind of like floating, flying up around each other and kind of dancing together. But using quite a thin kind of sound with the wah-wah, so it's not beefy and full. It's quite delicate, but quite thin too. Then when those chords are coming in, the dynamics kind of come up. So a more kind of standard boom 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 kind of fills, and veering into slightly more bluesy territory. And then here, when it goes funky, he can't resist but play more rhythmically. So you'll hear the playing's much more staccato, instead of holding out the notes. So here, it's much more, it's more rhythmic because that's what's going on musically, and instead of being in his own little world, he's letting that influence what he's doing. And you can hear when it's gone out the funky bit into the more holding the notes, sustaining them. When we're coming back to the repeat, instead of kind of going back to where it was, he's sticking with the wah thing, so we've not gone back to the Western thing. I think he feels like he's done that at this point. And we're doing a kind of more Hendrix-y kind of wah-fueled thing, going higher up the fretboard. And here, while the wah's going up, there's another guitar coming in, doing a little bit more. It's more of a kind of rhythm thing, hinting at the Western theme again. But again, keeping it quite bluesy. And then a kind of, fast flurry and a big bend, signalling that section change back to here. Then we've got this part which is like bordering on musical theatre. Is that really the best way I've heard it put? Shout out to Rabbi Rabs for phrasing it this way, is theatrical rock. It's not quite musical theatre, it's not quite prog. This is too complex to be arena rock, which is kind of what the singles were, what the bigger songs became. Very theatrical. And then here, this is a total turn out of nowhere for me. Acoustic guitar, so there might be a very quiet acoustic guitar doing that, the kind of strumming in the verses. I can't hear it, but it could be there. And here, just very delicate finger picking. And going into like a classical, slightly avant-garde, kind of proggy. And then we get into more of the kind of the Western. So it's probably playing the A in the open position, but obviously on acoustic, so it's much cleaner. Acoustic rather than classical guitar, because it's still got that kind of ping and brightness and spark that you have from an acoustic guitar with the steel strings rather than being nylon. And here the guitar is coming in doing that, which makes the song a bit heavier at this part. And then again holding the notes. Very kind of subtle, I would say delicate playing, but it doesn't sound delicate. It's an interesting mix. Again, a very kind of like funk line that they're playing in unison, so playing it all together. And then moving it up a tone. So a kind of key change there, really. And this just screams like kind of, you know, Hendrix, slightly psychedelic, slightly funky rock to me. Yeah, like Grand Funk Railroad, that sort of thing. This bit I thought was really interesting. Yeah, it's this much more kind of modern, and to me the first listen sounded a bit more classical than I was expecting, but works incredibly well in serving the song. But it sounded like, if you told me that was a lick from 73, I'd be surprised, because it sounds like it would be almost like a decade later before you'd get that sort of thing in like in a rock song. That one, same idea, but moving it to a different area of the fretboard. And because the notes he's using there are more typical of blues, that's the sort of thing I would have expected to hear. It's a tiny change, and you might not hear it. It might just be me with my guitarist brain. But if you've ever listened to that bit and thought, God, that sounds a bit fresh for like the early 70s, that might be why. It's an interesting choice of notes and licks for the style of music. And this bit as well, if you listen out for the backing vocals, the way it's pitched and the way it's voiced, it's reminded me of, I think it's is it Canon in D? Going from memory here, and I could be wrong, but it's really interesting that that's kind of filtering in a little bit too. And then a big burnout. Oh yeah, so flanges this kind of sound, that whoosh, kind of swooshy airplane sound. Nowadays you can just get a little plug-in and you go dunk and it makes it happen. Back in the day, I believe, so like All Along the Watchtower, I'm not too sure what year that was recorded in, but I think they had to do it manually, and I think the way to do it was by having different tapes set up to come on and play the same thing 1 second after, or a few milliseconds after each other, to get this swooshing effect. If I can find anything that explains it better than that, I'll link to it with the eye up there. But although it doesn't sound like it, this flanger is actually a delay effect. It's just really, really small increments of time. So rather than it being an obvious kind of, you hear a note and then the note delayed, they're so close together that it just does this weird, you call it a phasing effect, so it sounds kind of thinner in places and sounds swooshier. Then there's other bits where it sounds a bit fuller, and then it goes back to kind of thinner, which is interestingly, I've done a nice accidental circle here of talking about the kind of phase reversed sound, or the out of phase sound at the start, and then we have the phasing from the flanger effect. Let's just pretend I planned that all along. Probably more Queen to come your way, because I'm just really enjoying listening to their back catalogue. If you don't want to do the Patreon thing, but you're still here, a like and a comment goes a huge way in the battle against the notorious algorithm. But cheers guys, hope you're having a good one.